Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Lambert with the Geek and Review, and we have with us today Sam Moore from Legal Technology Hub. And Sam, you're going to talk to us a little bit about the technology selection offering that you have there.
Yep, that's great. Thank you, Greg. So, law firms and law departments come to Legal Tech Hub every day to find out key information about legal tech vendors and products. We've got so much information available to any kind of technology buyer, but sometimes we're engaged in a much more hands-on capacity. We actually offer a technology selection service, which is a six-step advisory framework we've designed to help our clients choose the right solution for them. And our approach is entirely agnostic, independent, and is designed to help our clients by giving them exactly what they need, whether that's conducting stakeholder interviews and needs assessments on their side, through vendor demonstrations and shortlisting, all the way towards producing an executive report outlining our top 3 recommended solutions for their particular business challenge, ready to go to their decision makers to act upon. So if you have a technology selection project coming up, please go to legaltechnologyhub.com/advisory to learn how we can help.
All right. Well, it sounds super useful. Thanks for putting a spotlight on that, Sam.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Geek and Review, the podcast focused on innovative and creative ideas in the legal industry. I'm Marlene Gabauer.
And I'm Greg Lambert. And this week we are thrilled to welcome a guest who represents a really critical pivot point in the generative AI narrative. So we have Jiyun Hyo is the co-founder and CEO of Givance. Am I saying that right?
Yes,
Givance?
Givance.
All right. Givance.
Givance.
Givance. Thank you.
I want to know where that came from. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
Yes. Should I answer
So
that?
the company is focused on moving legal AI beyond the hype cycle of text summarization and is into the emerging area of agentic verification and what I'm really excited to talk about, which is the high fidelity visualization.
Yes.
So Jiyun's background is distinct. It's rooted in academic robotics and clinical mental health, which is great for us in the law. AI, which gives him a unique lens on the risks and safety requirements in legal tech. Givens focuses on closing what he calls the last 10% gap. So the chasm between AI that can plausibly chat and one that can reliably visualize complex evidence for high stakes litigation. Jiyun Hyo, welcome to the Geek and Review.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Marlene and Greg, for having me here.
Yeah. So, well, I guess before we begin, let's answer Marlene's question. So Givens, how'd you come
Oh,
up with it?
I see. So, I'll keep it short, but so when we first started, we were actually a nonprofit startup, selling to like nonprofits to like kind of automate their fundraising process. And so we came up with this name because it's Give and Events. So we give and events and Givens. But now we are pivoted into legal tech and we just kept the name. So
I like it. It's
I
different. It's different and I like it.
So, Gion, your background is really fascinating, and I know it spans a bit over a decade, but it's you didn't start in the law firm
Mhm.
arena. You actually started in the general robotics lab at Duke, training what was in the AI agents to supervise other agents, and then you moved into mental health, building chatbots that need to be both empathetic, but it also, accuracy is really, really important in the mental health area as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so you've written about the danger of outcome supervised AI in mental health. So the bot learns to sound like a doctor but lacks clinical reasoning,
Yeah.
which can lead to dangerous hallucinations.
Mhm.
How does that specific risk translate to the legal field? So are we currently seeing outcome supervised legal tools that sound really confident but are legally hallucinating a bit?
Yeah. So just to kind of give you some context, the foundation models are trained using the outcome-based supervision method. So fundamentally speaking, all the AI will kind of try to sound confident and it will hallucinate. So I don't think there's 100% like foundation model that like doesn't hallucinate. right? So that
Yeah.
I found out about that like in a hard way when I was working on the mental health AI chatbot, because we had all these amazing things, all these products that we built, but some of them would hallucinate, and that would kind of turn off all the mental health professionals, and it would also in some other cases, not for our company, but have created like lawsuits and lots of problems. And so I've kind of seen firsthand how much impact that could have on everyday people and the users. So I kind of carried that over from the mental health field. And when I first kind of got into the legal tech field like 3 weeks ago, I started kind of seeing all these other products that answers questions based on documents or evidence. And I see that like, yeah, most of them are like, of course, using the foundation models that are trained using the outcome-based supervision. For example, like I saw some companies that, let's see here, maybe would draft like some motions or kind of summarize some evidence or answer questions based on the legal documents that are available. And depending on like the retrieval method, they definitely hallucinate. And a lot of people have to kind of spend their time kind of going through all the answers, and that kind of kills the whole point of everything. And I'm going to talk more about like some of the other retrieval methods that I think like a lot of the vendors should pay attention to. And there's also a reason why like the vendors haven't paid attention to this, such as, like the traditional reg is really cheap, and it's good for some purposes, but like some of the high fidelity, like high risk kind of situations, they would hallucinate. And yeah, like I don't want to name specific products because, I do really have lots of respect for all these products. But yeah, so I've heard, offline, off the record, many instances where they've had to kind of, check everything again. And that kind of kills the whole point of using these software.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I think it's good to sort of understand what other, options are available. So that's great.
yeah, and just I've been talking about the reward system, and my new story that I tell people is like, think of taking a pop quiz on a topic that you may not be all that familiar with. You weren't rewarded by saying, "I don't know what the answer is to this." You were rewarded by trying to create an answer that you thought might actually sound plausible.
Yeah.
And so I tell, it's like when you use a closed foundational model that's only working off the information
Mm.
that it has,
Yes.
and you're asking it something that's outside of its expertise, then it won't tell you it doesn't know. Traditionally, it was rewarded by coming up with, a plausible answer,
Yeah,
whether
I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a
yeah,
shot.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, because I would rather give it a shot and possibly make a D or a C on the grade
Hmm.
than get a zero. So
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
we talk about these outcome based, and with your robotics research that you've done, you focused on these hierarchical agents
Hmm.
on the process and then checking if the processes
Yes.
are done. So as we move more to say an agentic AI when it comes to legal, to research, and some of the workflows that we have,
Hmm.
you know, where do you see the agents? Or we're seeing the results maybe that we rely upon these agents to do a lot of the negotiations, or and conduct things autonomously. But do we need some kind of intermediary supervisory agent layer, like you talked about with the robotics?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's a really good thing that I see, like many products are kind of moving towards that direction already. So I would say, yeah, supervision layer is absolutely necessary. And not just like, after the fact that, let's say, if there's an agent that tells you some flags, like let's say during the negotiation, like you want to know as the negotiations are going on, and not just like after 7 days of negotiation, after all these tests have been done. Hey, here are some like flags that kind of popped up. So what I've been kind of seeing is that as the AIs are kind of negotiating contracts and stuff, they would kind of live tell you, flag it to the manager. So having like a human involved is really, really crucial. But at the same time, like having a system where AI can notify them as soon as something is let's say, we have this stuff we call confidence level, it drops below a certain confidence level, then it should be able to tell the person manager, like what's going on. And it should have like a really easy way for the person to check, whatever that means. So yeah, I would absolutely say that supervision agent layer is necessary and it is being implemented in many different cases. But I also think that, yeah, I've seen many cases where they want to implement something like this, and then that kind of kills the accuracy. And in the end, they're like, okay, so what do we do? Like, or like, it kind of kills the user experience. I get flagged way too many times, and it kind of kills the point. So where's this balance, right? So I think that's something that I'm pretty interested in figuring out.
So you've described Givence's mission as closing the last 10% gap. You're arguing that today's best foundation models can really only reliably go to about 90% quality, which I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty good. But I guess it's not. Whether it's text generation or chart generation.
Uh-huh.
So can you define that last 10% for our listeners?
Yeah.
Why is generating like a visual timeline of a conspiracy so much harder for an LLM than just summarizing the emails involved?
Yeah, so this kind of carries over from the outcome supervision based kind of training of the foundation models. So I've built in many different verticals, and I've seen the same pattern could emerge over and over again, where the AI agents could produce something that looks really plausible, but then it might have like one or two mistakes here and there. Because of that one or two mistakes, you can't really use it. So, for example, if you're generating a chart, like you like everything about the chart, it looks really amazing, colors are amazing, but then there's like a little overlap in the text, and like the text looks kind of ugly. Maybe one data point is wrong for some reason. And then you wanted to kind of make precise iteration of the chart. So, hey, tell the ChatGPT or whatever AI agent you're using, just fix that one little part. And what the AI is trained to do is it's trained to kind of produce everything from scratch again. So it's really hard to do precise iteration. So like you got to that 90%. So for example, if I give another example for coding, if I vibe code something, it looks really great. But then let's say this one button doesn't work. And I'm like, hey, can you move this button slightly to the left, or can you make it slightly bigger, or change the color? And sometimes it does it right, but other times like it completely messes up all the other aspects of the website. So that's kind of what I've seen in across all these verticals. So if you're not using it to charge your clients, I think it's okay. But then it's not going to produce something that's 100%. Like you can just like without even kind of checking everything, give it to your clients and they'll be happy. There's always going to be that little thing that doesn't quite match what you want. And like iterating based off of that is really, really impossible for the current models.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then,
Okay.
that same goes for the visual timeline of a conspiracy that you just mentioned. Because like for the conspiracy of a timeline, like you need to kind of outline all the people that are involved, all these events are involved, all these evidence that you collected, emails, like depositions, all these different things, and you can't even miss one. If you miss one, then this whole kind of like the trustability of this whole evidence to be created is put into question, and it's not going to be admissible. And so, yeah, like you just lose the trust in the output. So that's why like having all these layers to ensure like 100% accuracy is really, really important, but it's really, really slow and it's really, really expensive. And that's, I think, why a lot of the vendors kind of stay away from it.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just thinking about oh, go ahead, Greg. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, go ahead. Good.
No, I was just thinking about, like, when you vibe code, it's like I had to make a radar screen, and then I had it, in four sections, and I was like, "All right, make it in 5 sections." And then, like, the whole thing just goes crazy, like, all of the lines are outside of the circle, and it's like, "Okay, this is not helpful."
Oh, yes,
So I just had to
absolutely.
laugh when you were saying that.
Yes.
But June, I wanna back up before I ask the next question.
Mhm.
Something that maybe it would have been better to have started off with. So if I'm a lawyer or I'm a legal professional, what's going to be my needs that I have, or my pain points that I'm going to want to reach out to a given to help me solve. So let me kind of
Mhm.
just back up and let you talk about big picture of what you're doing.
Yeah. So like most of the solutions that I see are kind of automating some different like kind of workflows or kind of summarizing the internal knowledge that you guys already have into kind of readable and digestible format. So that's kind of most of the platforms that I see. But then I've talked to like lawyers who've used these platforms on a day-to-day basis, and they've told me that like these tools have become basically like a set of tools that they could access here and there, but then it doesn't really replace their entire workflow. So for example, if I have like 5 documents I have to read, I would just go upload the documents, ask some questions, and then come back because they know that like other features that these platforms offer are not 100%. So they know they're going to have to like go back and check everything. So they stay away from those features. And so for us, what we want to do is like, and also like when you summarize these things and when you're digesting these things, I mean, you're summarizing 10,000 documents into maybe like, 2, 3, 4 pages, but then 2, 3, 4 pages is still a lot for some people to digest, especially if you're kind of outlining all the events in a timeline. So you see all these numbers, these dates, and you just can't really see clearly like who was here at what time and for how long. So for us, what we do is we turn your internal knowledge into digestible visuals. So for example, like we create stuff like Gantt charts to show all the executive managements, like who was here from 2017 to 2025, and what kind of role were they playing. So we can color code everything, and then it's all traceable back to the document. So it's like we see ourselves as like I guess the next second generation AI. The first generation is always text to text. And second generation is, text to speech, text to action, text to visuals. And like, if you think about all the humans like existing on Earth, like 80% of us are visual learners. But then most of our knowledge is stored as text. And that's what lawyers are kind of forced to work with. And if I like kind of see why that's the case, because creating this visualization is really, really time consuming. And before the advent of AI, like, I mean, people have to kind of hire other people to do it, which means you would have to wait like a week or 2 weeks before something gets sent back to you, and it just doesn't really work that way. But now that we have AI who can produce these visuals, so instead of waiting for a week, you could like wait like a minute and then get these interactive visuals that will help you understand this. So we're just at the, I guess, the brink of, the start of text to visual AI coming into legal tech.
Mhm.
I know Marlene's a big visual person. She's done some presentations on the visuals of data. So
Mm.
right up our alley.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so let's talk about visual clarity.
Mhm.
You use I was doing some research. You use something called D3.js
Yes.
for these publication quality
Uh-huh.
visualizations. So in e-discovery, we've had things like concept clusters, for a decade.
Mhm.
So how does your approach there, given to visualizations differ from what we're used to? And is
Mhm.
it about exploring the data, or is it more about kind of proving the case? What's the reasoning?
Yeah, so those are really good questions. So the way we see this is it's actually both. So it's both exploring the data and proving the case. So I can only speak from our current use cases of the law firms that we have using Givance. So what they do is they want to kind of so all their like clients give them all these data, depositions, and all these evidence they supplied, and like they basically have to make sense of everything. So before they had to have paralegals kind of go through and extract the key dates and kind of maybe construct these charts for them. But now they're using Givens to do that instead of like relying on these paralegals. And because of that, they can better understand the case. So they can kind of come up with the legal theory of as to how to kind of defend this case. And then what our law firm also does is they also take these visualizations to the clients and then ask the clients to kind of, hey, what do you think about this visual? What is there anything missing? And like it improves the communication between the law firm and the client. And also what our client law firm is doing is they're using the visualizations that are generated actually in court to better explain this thing to the judges and the juries. So he's told us, the partner at the law firm has told us that a lot of the times the judges are drawing their own diagrams as he's describing the evidence, and the juries are sitting there like having no idea, about what it is. And once he describes this evidence, he gives like a binder full of evidence, like 40 pages of documents to the jury, and then the jury's like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And that's also been a huge problem for him in the past. But then instead of doing that, like he's now kind of presenting these visuals at the court using a presentation like um and that's helped like jury and the judges can better understand the case. So that's kind of like what we think is different for us, like better understand your internal knowledge, whether it's evidence, whether it's like discovery process, whether it's like M&A, for example. So whatever internal data you have, we could visualize it and you could better understand it.
So you've applied your engine to analyze IRS data from Korean American nonprofits.
Yes.
And I guess this is where Givance started. Okay.
Yes.
So that's handling over 127 million in budget analysis.
Mhm.
So what did that project teach you about the messiness of real world structured data now
Yeah.
that you're applying it to litigation discovery?
I see. So I thought this was a very interesting question because like I actually thought that the nonprofit data was much easier to analyze because I've dealt with
Probably
some
right.
crazy, messy data, which is just what it is. Like, so any data that we use to work, we work with in the real world, it's always messy. People have different formats, even if, so for example, like, if I'm analyzing a PDF, like this organization has this format, that organization has that format. And then for definitions, people talk in different like style. They use different diction, different tones, and it's just impossible to expect the data set to be clean and consistent. So we're really used to dealing with a lot of data with lots of noise. And my co-founder also used to work at Google Research and um, Snapchat, where he used to analyze like billions of like people like usages of Snapchat, and of course everybody's using it differently. Everybody's having it like it just all these kind of coming together. Data being messy is expected. So and that's why it takes skill to kind of clean the data and all of that. But that's kind of, so I didn't really learn anything new per se, but I do think that we could apply whatever we learned, analyzing all these different data from different verticals to analyze the litigation discovery. And actually, the litigation legal data, in my opinion, is much easier to analyze than some of the other ones.
Really?
Because like many cases are kind of similar to each other in some sense. So like let's say you're dealing with commercial litigation. Of course, the specific evidence are different, but it's always like audio files, it's always PDFs, it's always website screenshots. So it's the same type of format from the perspective of a computer, like an AI analyzing it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we can't have an episode where we're talking about products without clean, doing the first thing that Marlene and I have to do, which is clear security concerns. So
Yes.
I know that at Givance you've talked a lot about or emphasized isolated environments and encryption and your security. And I've read where you've been critical of OpenAI and kind of the black box effect. You're not quite sure how things are going.
Mhm.
So for Givance, are you relying upon these foundational models, or are you building some type of bespoke tool or smaller models? What is it that you're doing in these isolated environments?
Yeah, I mean, security is really, really important. And I think what I realized is that each law firm has their own security policy, and so we of course adhere to all that, whether it's SOC 2, whether it's GDPR, whatever you want to like, what the law firm wants us to do, we can do. But to answer your question about the foundation models, so we do use foundation models, and the reason is that like these foundation models, like let's face the truth, right? Like I mean, these are improving so fast to the point where if you train your own smaller models, it might outperform these models maybe for the next 3 months. And then a new model gets released and you have to train another one. And it just doesn't, it's not reliable to kind of to go that way. So instead of doing that, what we do is we try to come up with these architecture like for example, like agentic systems have many models that are making up this entire agentic system. So we make it pretty model agnostic. So and we whenever we have to kind of use the foundation models, we remove all the PIIs, remove all these like sensitive materials. And for us specifically, we're only using it to produce these D3 charts. So like just to kind of give you like a little idea about our system, we have a planner agent that plans, hey, what things to visualize or what kind of things to add to, like x-axis, y-axis, colors, different types of charts. And then we also have a coding agent that actually codes this thing. And then when we actually send the request to code this, we remove everything that's, like, and from their perspective, oh, someone is just trying to make a, fancy chart. They don't know what it is for. So that's what it is. And we also have another model called the Reviewer agent, which is a VLM agent, which is a vision language model agent that looks at the produced chart and then kind of tells the coding agent what to fix. And so this is the piece that I talked about, what the foundation models are missing, where it lets you do precise iteration. So we use foundation models because of, I mean, obviously, like billions of dollars going into it, and of course it's going to improve, and we can't really compete against that. But we don't want that. I mean, we don't want any sensitive information going into these foundation models. So I think that's kind of our approach to
Okay.
the coolest models.
I think you teed me up nicely for the next question. Your platform claims to visualize contradictions instantly, so that's very bold, but we're going to hear about it. Technically, like, how do you distinguish between a subtle nuance in testimony and a hard lie? That, to me, that just seems like a massive challenge.
Yes, that's a really good question. So I have to kind of think about this for a little bit. So just to clarify, it's not instant. It's like maybe 3-4 minutes, but that's the startup like I guess language that I use. Because if we analyze like 10,000 files, it's
The fact that we couldn't do it before at all, I think this
well, it was gonna
is
take
pretty
like weeks
good.
before. So it's relatively instant. So like what we do is we don't try to make judgment. Like our AI is not making legal theory about like a case. So what our goal is that we try to make the visuals and make every part of the visual kind of traceable back to the specific evidence that we kind of used it to construct the chart. So for example, like so like let's say we construct the charts, and then the lawyer who's kind of reviewing these charts would be able to make these legal judgments based on that. So for example, if someone says if they're like timestamp mismatch for your emails, or location mismatch, or inconsistent sequences of actions, then that's clearly a contradiction. And for our AI, we could confidently tell you, hey, this person said this here, but then our evidence, we found this evidence from other place, and that's a contradiction. So that's like 100%. But then for the nuances that you talked about, usually it doesn't like, well, like, it's like we're not, of course, 100% confident when we are kind of judging stuff about that, but it doesn't really break the people involved or the timestamp or the actions when they happen. So we would kind of give you like some, I guess, confidence level, and the lawyer would have to make the decision based off of what we give them. So yeah, like we're not trying to have the AI make the decision as to, oh, this person is lying or that person is telling the truth. We're just saying, oh, here are the clear contradictions. I mean, it doesn't matter what they said. This is just clearly contradictory. And there are other ones where, oh, okay, these are kind of gray area. We want the human to check. So that's kind of our approach to this problem.
Okay. Well, let's bring it back to the kind of the human in the loop when it comes to legal tech adoption. So you've written about what you call the innovation paradox, where the startups might have this great agility, but they're the workforce itself that they have may may lack the Gen AI training to kind of execute on those ideas. So for, say, a law firm innovation leaders listening to this podcast or presenting this podcast, we also often feel a paradox as well.
Hmm.
So we look at buying tools, and then we have to train the associates or lawyers or whoever to prompt them effectively, to use them effectively.
Mhm.
What do you think the missing skill sets of lawyers are right now, or that they need to use a tool like Givance? Are we talking about just data literacy? Are we talking about prompts, or what is it that
Mhm.
what are we lacking?
Yeah, makes sense. So I can speak for Givens, for example. So, I think the biggest hurdle to using Givens for a lot of our users is knowing what kind of visualizations are possible, because they're just used to a lot of clustering, like, just simple bar charts, line charts, pie charts, and then they're like, "Oh, are there any other charts other than this?" But then we show them like Gantt charts. Oh, they're like, "Oh, okay, I see." We show them like Sankey charts. They're like, "Oh, okay, I see." So, and if you look at so like when I was exploring the D3 library that we just talked about, there are thousands of visualizations that could be possible. And of course, I'm not saying like law firms should use all of them, but then they should definitely explore at least like 10 or 20 of them, because it's so easy to kind of see, for example, like when during the discovery phase, when a lawyer submits all their evidence discovery materials and the other party submits all their materials, they want to see like which ones overlap, which ones only we kind of submitted, and which ones only they submitted, and stuff like this is very easily kind of visible using like just interactive Venn diagrams. It's not like specifically Venn diagrams, but there are other visuals that could delineate like these things easily. So I think the biggest hurdle is like knowing what kind of data can be visualized into what kind of charts. And that part maybe, so we're thinking about a few different solutions to this. Maybe give them some training, maybe give them some like guidelines to this, or we train another AI model that kind of
I was wondering,
reads their intent and then gives
Yeah.
suggestions as to how they can make these visuals.
are you finding that the AI models understand the data, or can pick the 10 best examples, or
Like,
are they
what's
just
the
going to
best
pick the
visual
10
for what you're
random?
trying to accomplish,
Yeah. So if the goal is clear, then the AI model is like relatively good at suggesting what the visual chart is. For example, if you want to say, "Yeah, I just want to see like which executives were at this company from 2017 to 2025," then our AI model will definitely know, hey, look, then I suggest a Gantt chart. And we could kind of side by side compare everyone. But then you're just kind of like, you give us 10,000 files, you're like, hey, so what are the top 10 visualizations we could do? And the RAI is like, we don't know. Like, what's your goal? So if your goal is clear and what your objective is clear, then our AI could definitely help you identify which visuals are the best for you.
Yeah, that's good. You have recently raised 600,000 pre-seed just about a month ago, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
so congratulations.
Thank
But there are some players in this space that are raising like 100 million
Yes.
rounds. And so does
Nine
this
900 million rounds.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, that too. That too. But does operating, at this scale give you, freedom, more freedom to prioritize, say, accuracy over, more hyper growth, or does it make competing with sort of the massive, these massive sales engines more challenging?
Mhm. Yeah, I see. So this is a question that I get asked, pretty much in every vertical, because like in any vertical, there's massive companies raising massive amount of money, or incumbents,
Hmm.
kind of always operating in that space. So the way I kind of see this is that legal tech is kind of special from my perspective, because like legal tech for startups didn't really exist until 2, 3 years ago, from my perspective. Like a lot of law firms are not open to trying out new AI tools, but because of these early players that we've kind of mentioned how they raised millions of dollars, they were the ones who went in and kind of expanded the market for us. So I see kind of like, I know the gold rush, the term has like a negative connotation, but there's a gold rush into legal tech from all the startup founders. And these companies are, from my perspective, kind of paving the way for us. So they're spending all these marketing money and then getting the law firms to kind of open up to AI tools. And I hear that they're signing like 1 to 2 years contracts, and all these law firms are also new to adopting AI tools. So they will try it. And then I would say in the end, like they would, people, I mean, it's just as any other vertical. Penetration is really good, but then you need it, like the winner all comes down to the technical accuracy, like the quality of the product at the end.
Does it execute,
Yes. And so I'm not too concerned about like I actually like it, like the fact that they're spending most of their money on marketing because, they're basically making all these law firms, more open to adopting and trying new AI tools. And the natural progression basically is, okay, so I hear about these two tools. What are some other options? And if you're not completely happy, you might be kind of shopping for other tools, and that's kind of opens up a window for the other firms to kind of jump in. And I also kind of mentioned this earlier, where I do feel like the legal tools that are raising hundreds, millions of rounds, those are like the generation one legal tools, AI tools. So that would kind of pave way for the second generation tools, like multimodal tools, to kind of jump in and fill the gap. Because I do think that text to text doesn't fill all the gaps that exist in the law firms. So I don't really see them as competition. And I mean, even if I classify them as competition, I like it. I like seeing competition because it just means that the market is growing. And if you look at the multiples at which they're like raising, I don't want to mention specific names, but they're raising it like 80 times their revenue, 40 times their revenue, which is a crazy multiple if you think
Yeah.
about it compared to other verticals.
You're not the only one that's saying that.
Yeah. So, but that
I'm sure it will all work out in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if that's the case, then it also tells me that the market is going to grow. And I love how, these firms are spending all their money doing the work for us so we could, focus on the tech stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, sounds like a good business model. So,
Mhm.
before we get to the crystal ball question, I'm really kind of excited to hear your answer for the crystal ball question because I think
Mhm.
you've got some good insights. But one of the things that we've been asking our guests is, what resources do you use to kind of keep up with changes in the market, changes to what you're doing?
Yes.
Is there any go-to sources that you have?
I see. So, most of my knowledge about AI and where the AI is headed and the latest technology is actually coming from my own network. So, my co-founder went through YC, so we have the YC network that we can tap into. I've been a part of many accelerators, and there's many like discussions about, hey, I've tried this, I've tried that, and then I also was part of the research. I mean, I was a researcher at a lab at Duke, so I also follow their work and research papers that gets published. And at the same time, like we also have top engineers from like XAI, OpenAI, Meta AI, Google, who's invested in us as angel investors. So like we have communications with them. We can just ask them, hey, like what are you working on? And, what are you going to release? And like, of course, they can't tell me everything, but they could give me some pointers. And the reason I do this is when I look at all the publicly available information, like most of them are just outdated a little bit. So like if I just follow that, then I will be like 4 or 5 months behind what the actual people are like working on at these top AI labs. So, and my co-founder is really well connected, and he used to be in big tech for 9 years. And all the people he used to manage are now working at Google DeepMind, like XAI, OpenAI, Anthropic, and they're interested in joining us. And he has this clear communication line between him and these people, and so that's how we get most of our information regarding AI.
Yeah, it's still about personal relationships, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was going to say, like, you're raising a really good point that firms, it's important for them to know people like you, because you have more of sort of inside information than than they do, than what they're getting. I mean, not inside information, but you know
Yes.
what I mean.
Yeah. Exactly.
Than the public does,
Yeah.
and just being able to kind of evaluate where the market's going is going to
Uh-huh.
help them, with their purchases
Yeah.
and their direction in the future.
And I do have like a sanity check that I always run, like, because I'm like, am I just being delusional? Am I also kind of falling behind? But we also recently got like an acquisition offer from Meta AI. So we know like, okay, Meta AI is a really big firm who's, and we have clear communication line between us and them. And they think that we know what we're talking about. Okay. So I guess that kind of validation also helps
Hmm.
them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the crystal ball question,
Yes.
and we ask everybody this. So when you look at the crystal ball for 2026 and beyond, do you see the search bar disappearing from e-discovery? Will the future interface be more of a conversation with the visual agent, or will we always need that search box?
I see.
Or,
So,
or answer it however you want.
Yeah, you can just say that's a stupid question and let me answer something else,
yeah.
or you
So
can answer this
because
one.
the only thing I have about this question is because of the word beyond. Because like for me, beyond is like we're talking about like because I think that AI would uh just like change our direction for the next 10,000 years, 20,000 years. Of course we're not like referring to that, of course, but I think in the short term, I don't think the search bar is gonna disappear. And the search bar is there because people use it and people find it like I don't know, like people associate like control when they see search bar. I have a control of what I want to search and they're used to it. So even if something better comes along, like if you're, let's say, like most people are not early adopters. So even if
Hmm.
something better is available, you're just kind of used to working based on your old like kind of workflow. So unless all those people retire and they're no longer in the industry, which is maybe in 20 years, I wouldn't say the search bar is going to disappear. But maybe yeah, if once a few generations down, I do think that search bar will disappear.
I mean, we're still writers, so that's sort of what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I mean, you'll still have that
Mm.
that that box where you can type something in, in a written format.
Yeah.
Yes.
Forgive my I don't know if it's going to be a pun or just a bad use of language here. But do you mind kind of I know you're big on the visualization.
Mhm.
Just uh, what do you what's a really basic example of that you think is going to be different from today to what maybe a year or two from now when it comes to visuals?
Sorry, I couldn't really hear your question towards the end.
He was asking, is there sort of a simple
Mhm.
example of a visualization that you think is going to sort of change things or impact things? Did I get that right, Greg?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
So in okay, hmm. With respect to this question, is that
Hmm. Yes.
I mean, a lot of other verticals are kind of experimenting with like visual agents that you can talk to, and some people say they like it, but then I personally don't really like it because like listening to me is much slower than actually reading. Like I read a lot faster than I listen, so
Hmm.
unless I can like speed up everything, and also the thing is that like I don't really want to be talking to like a virtual character when I'm searching for stuff. Like just like who are you? Like I don't want to like
It's a little weird.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to
Well,
gatekeep.
I guess let me rephrase it
Yes.
a little bit then. I'm talking much more like on outputs.
Okay.
So it's a lot of the information we deal with is text based,
Yes.
and I
Oh,
know that
okay.
there's a big push on that. So
Hmm.
what do you think are going to be some of the simple examples that we'll see with AI tools and outputs with visuals
Hmm.
in a year from now that we're not seeing now?
So like maybe from a year from now, like not not a lot of like visuals that that like the consumers would see or like everyday people would see. I think it's gonna really start from just a very specific like use cases within a specific vertical. And the reason I say this is that like I mean there are a lot of AI tools that produce like presentations for you that's really quickly, and that's having a massive impact on pretty much a lot of the consumers are used to producing presentations. And for the D3 though, like it's something that we're starting with, but it's not something that everyday person is gonna use. Like when's the last time you produced like a D3 diagram? So only businesses, maybe if you're in the legal tech, I would say that you would start to see a lot more, yeah, like just like more impressive visualizations that are interactive and so like I would say Gantt chart would be pretty common among all the law firms. I think Sankey charts are really useful for divorces when people want to divide up their assets. So instead of like reading like a 2-page report, you would see a Sankey chart of this asset goes to that person, this asset goes to that person. So you can kind of drag and drop different things, and that's how you would divide up the assets. So I would see like specific use cases, but in order for this to kind of catch up and actually be mainstream, I would say it would take about 5 years or so.
Okay.
Because I can see this like being applied to education as well, in business developments as well. And yeah, so like right now I would say a year from now, like I don't think it's gonna be enough for like a normal person outside of the legal tech to notice.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Jiyun Hyo from Givance. So it's been a pleasure. We love talking visuals. So thanks for coming on the Geek in Review.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Yes.
And thanks to all of you, our listeners, for taking the time to listen to the Geek in Review podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a colleague. We'd love to hear from you on LinkedIn and TikTok.
And Jiyun, for listeners who want to learn more about Givance, where's the best place for them to go?
So you can just contact me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. And I can also give you my email and my website as well.
We'll put all that on the show notes.
Yes, thank you.
And as always, the music you hear is from Jerry David DeSica. Thank you very much, Jerry.